This is John Zaninovich. Welcome to Move My Mass. You'll be hearing from great guests talk about balancing life and being fit. Welcome to today's episode of Move My Mass. I have a great guest for you today, Todd Snider from Western Ag Crop Insurance Services. You're going to hear some great stories today. He is an amazing athlete, formerly and currently, so I can't wait to hear some of his stories, especially about, I believe it's Kamikaze of Mammoth. Not sure if that's the name, but we are going to find out. But please welcoming Todd Snider. Welcome to the show, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Nice having you here.
Yeah, this is exciting. I've never participated in a podcast, so hopefully I got some good information for you. And I mean, I have a face for TV, but let's do this podcast.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Easy. Let's see what we can come up with here, and maybe not give away all of our secrets, but it'd be fun to chat and share some stories.
Exactly. So before we even get started on workout routines or what, tell me about this race. It's Kamikaze of the Mammoth. Is that what it's called? Yeah, tell me about this. So we were on the phone. You were telling me about it, and it sounds brutal.
When I was younger, I was a professional cyclist, so I raced downhill mountain bikes out of high school. Traveled the world, was lucky enough to be an athlete for a few years and not have to have a full-time real job. Went to college in the winters, and then eventually once I retired, I did finish up at Cal State Bakersfield. But back to the racing days, we would race at Mammoth as one of the national stops or World Cup stops. And that race was unique. It was different than all the other nationals or World Cups. Is a fast fire road. So it's just almost like a smooth dirt road with they call it pumice stone. If you've ever been to Mammoth, it's different dirt. It's not your soil that you have out in the valley. It's this granite pumice, and it over time on this path, this fire road, you create this really thin kind of hard packed line from all the bikes going on, and the tires would move away all the loose rock and create this hard line. And if you followed that line perfectly, you would reach speeds of 62, 61, 60 miles an hour on a bike, right? Fully tucked on a mountain bike. And back then you had rim brakes or, V brakes, or you didn't have discs.
Wait, back up. You 60, went 60 by that real quick. Yeah, you went by that at 60 miles an hour on a mountain bike.
And bikes,
by the way, no, thank you.
Compared to what we have, what's available now. I mean, so you're talking 2.5 inches, 4 inches of travel at the best. You're running Lycra gear and an open face helmet. You just want to get aero, and at that speed, something you figure out over time. You don't just know this inherently, but you can actually you can reach higher speeds if you stop pedaling.
Okay.
Tuck and coast, because the pedaling is creating so much aerodynamic
turbulence,
air and turbulence and resistance that once you get up to speed, you're better off just tucking and getting under the paint or whatever they want to call it in that tucking mode. But we used to run back then like 60-tooth chain rings and these really big chain rings to try to reach these fast speeds. Yeah. Over time, we learned that you could run a 52-tooth chain ring, and once you reach maximum speed, you tuck and you can end up continually increasing without having to pedal and do the effort. And so when we came back, fast forward to after retiring, the Mammoth Mountain decided to make this Legends event, Kamikaze Legends.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why I went back as an adult with kids and a career and a professional company and all that stuff, like with a death wish, right? But and my family was just not really happy about it. My wife was supportive, but and I actually had to kind of have a little come to Jesus meeting about it with myself, because it would be catastrophic.
You go down at 60
to crash at 60 miles an hour in the dirt. I got
right.
Yeah.
The body doesn't appreciate it quite as much as when you're 18.
Really bad. But what happens is if you're a competitor, if you're an athlete, you do a run, you're like, oh, that was scary. I don't know, I shouldn't be doing this. And then you do another run, you're like, well, I think I can go a little faster here. Well, that didn't feel right. I need to go a little faster in this corner. And then you start piecing it together. And now with technology that we didn't have then, we have like Strava and all these other apps that I can actually see what sections of the course I'm faster than I was in the last run. And so I think I could find a way to go faster now than I ever did then as a 25-year-old, super stud athlete who trained X amount of hours a week and lifted and all those things that we used to do. But technology kind of teaches you that the average speed is what really makes you the fastest down that hill. Anyone can go 60 and anyone can go 30 in the corners, but can you go 33 in the corner and 60 on the fast section? And then if you look at the average time, you're taking 8 seconds off, right?
Yeah.
Massive amount of time.
And the whole thing behind all that, which is why I couldn't wait to have, once I read that, I'm like, I cannot wait to have him as a guest, because you obviously have a screw loose. I'm just going to tell you. But that is, I couldn't wait. I'm like, we will get to the workout part later. I just have to get that story out. I have to hear it. I have to have the guest hear it, because it's intense.
Yeah. I was lucky to be one of the few that grew up in the era when that was what mountain biking was. I kind of was young when it first started to go, like John Tomac, your Dave Cullinan, your Miles Rockwell. These are all people that I looked up to when I was like 16 years old and drove up there the first time. And I watched them come down and I thought, this is freaking crazy. I would never do this. I would wear a road race suit. I'd wear a full face, because they would go by you, and the speed and the power and the noise and I'm just like, this is insane. But then I did it as a junior and I did well. I'm a bigger guy. I was stronger than my age, most other kids my age at 17, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I won, and then I think, well, I got lucky. I won the national championship that same year, and then I turned pro, and next thing you know, you're wearing Lycra and an open face helmet or barely a little plastic chin strap, and you're flying down the hill to compete against your heroes. John Tomac. I mean, these are names of heroes that I looked up to, had pictures of them on my wall. And then 2 years later, I'm roommating with one of them and learning from them and figuring out the little ways to go fast on this course. And it was unique to any other downhill course. I mean, all other mountain bike courses are single track or drop offs or different types of.
So just
Mammoth was just your high speed aero suit fast.
Obviously crazy intense. So tell me what the workouts were like back then. What, as a young guy, 18, what were your workouts then? Because I'd like to compare them to what life is like now. But yeah, what was it like back then? What'd you do? Man, if I could go back and teach myself. Everyone tells you this, right? Like, as hard as we did work out then, like I could have for sure worked out harder, right? I could have for sure done more. I mean, you rest is important, but I slept a little more than I should have. I look back, I'm like, man, you kind of were getting up at 9:30. You could have got up at 8. You could have done an extra work. You could have got an extra work in, which might But you know what? It is what it is, and this is the life that I lived, and I was lucky enough to do as good as I did with what we did do, right? I had trainers and I had everything, but you look back, you're like, man, I could have had, more massages to help with recovery. You could have done better with your supplements. You could have done better with your, the chambers, what do they call those? Oxygen chambers.
And then
hyperbaric chambers.
Chamber. I'm sorry, hyperbaric for your elevation training. Like you could have so many things you could have done scientifically, right?
Right.
But basically, it was I kept logs of all it. We had Mondays were usually off days because Sundays were typically a travel day or a race day, depending on if you were doing local or national events. And then so Mondays were an off day to recover. Tuesdays your gym in the morning, a couple hours or an hour on the bike, depending on what you were doing. We trained a lot on the road.
Yeah.
So you could get your miles and base in, and then you had less chance of injury, right? So you couldn't just go mountain biking every day because your risk of breaking a collarbone is really high for something silly, right? A flat in the corner or something weird happens, right?
Something that's not your fault.
You do your road training, you do your weight training, and lots of BMX. So downhill mountain biking was all about sprinting from corner to corner, and then technique and sprinting from corner to corner. So that's why BMX guys had a big advantage, because they were strong and lots of real big fast twitch muscles. So for me, I had a motorcycle background and a BMX background, and so the technical side of the riding was easy. It came really easy to me. I just needed to have the strength and I kind of fell into a window of, I was the younger guy from my generation of racers. And so I was like 21 racing against 29-year-old guys who had been pros in BMX before. And so they knew that life better than I did, and they knew how to train, and they were stronger and bigger. And it doesn't sound like a big difference, but
it is a big difference.
A 21-year-old kid who, wrestled a little bit in high school, and then all of a sudden now it was a big jump. And so lots of road biking. I kind of bounced around a little bit here, but lots of road biking to get fitness up, that base miles, weights, BMX sprinting, mountain bike rides, and then downhill days where you can practice on your downhill bike.
And that whole thing is a perfect intro into what Move My Mass is all about. Now you had your days, crazy intense. I'm sure you hit peaks of intensity now, but now, what Move My Mass is about is finding that balance of living life, working in the intensity. Yeah, we can go get those intense workouts in. It actually, it's probably work out as hard as you want. But yeah, what Move My Mass is all about is, well, you know what? We have life to live too. Yeah. And so tell me about what a day is like now. How do you decide? You still go to events. You still race. You podiumed, right? You won it.
I won the Mammoth thing 2 years in a row and was podium on every year except the first year it came out. So I think we did it for 5 or 6 years. They
Yeah. So while you're starting a new business, a family, friends, so tell me about what goes through your head when you're approaching an event and how you balance it. How you balance, you have maybe a daughter's soccer game coming up or a friend's birthday party. Mm-hmm. How do you balance it? What goes through your head as you're approaching an event and say, okay, I'm going to work out or I'm not going to work out and go to that event? Tell me how you do it.
It's a good question because, it seems like in the last couple of years, a lot of my energy has been just directed to the business and the family side of things. So the one thing that goes away is that normal weekly couple 3-4 workouts, right? So I am lucky in that I have this base fitness from the years of racing professionally and motorcycle riding in the winters and working out and things like that. But I'm super lazy right now in terms of working out, and it's paining me to say this, right? But I have a rowing machine, and my wife has this new Peloton, and I have my road bike set up there. And depending on the time of year, is how much I do, and then I really focus on events, like you said. So every year I do this motorcycle dual sport ride, and it's called the Big Bear Dual Sport Ride, and they call it the hard way because it's a full day. You start the bike at 6 a.m. and you're going against 100 other guys, dust and the rocks, and it's brutal, cramping. You have to prepare for this thing. So what I do is I'm like, okay, about a month and a half out, I start my rower every morning. I'll do my road bike for a couple hours here and there. I'm riding on the weekends 3 hours to build up, to get my base back up or get my fitness back up. Yeah. We do every year we do a ride around the lake, me and my brother and a buddy or something like that in Lake Tahoe. We'll go ride 80 miles. It's, it's a bunch of climbing, it's high elevation. And, I can't just ride every day like I used to. I can't just get in 2 hours every day or every other day. It's just not possible. Even in my mind, I want to. This morning, I woke up like 5:30, and I'm like, I should jump on that bike for a couple hours so I can brag about it in this podcast. But we have a new puppy, and I'm full of excuses right now. We have a new puppy. I've been up twice in the middle of the night. I'm like, I really want this extra hour of sleep, so I slept instead. It's all about picking and choosing my battles as far as like, do I want to give up my Saturday golfing with the boys or taking my daughters golfing or going to my daughter's soccer games or a gymnastics competition or, if you're a busy, person out there, man or woman, you're working hard all week and you want to come home and your spouse is like, wait a minute, you want to go on another mountain bike ride with your friends and that's 5 more hours on Saturday. So you kind of pick and choose your battles on how much you can get to working out and how much you can get to play, right?
And that's exactly what it's all about, is picking the battle. Yeah. And actually, battle's probably the wrong word, but you're picking.
Well, it's fair, right? You want to be fair to your spouse, and you want to be fair to your family, and fair to your fitness level, right? So you got to balance all that. But I know that cycling for me is the fountain of youth. Like it is, there is nothing else that I can do. I can't run regularly. My legs don't like it. My feet don't like it. Never been much of a runner. I tried that for motorcycle racing and whatnot. I tried to be. My body did not like it. So cycling was the thing for me, and that keeps me young. And so I know if I want to be successful in the long term, I have to be able to be fit and have a long-term life, right? I have to be healthy and live to live long. So I know that's an important thing for me. The rowing machine is huge too, because you can go bust out 10 minutes on the rowing machine, and it doesn't sound like much, but it kicks your butt.
Oh, I've done it. Yeah, I'm pretty sick at the end of 10 minutes.
Good arm and body and even leg. In 10 minutes, you're hot. You're ready for a break, right? So I try to just get something in the mornings, or take a Saturday or Sunday good ride, and that's pretty much what I get right now.
Right. And I noticed
this time of year too.
And I noticed you just hosted a golf tournament, or you were one of the hosts. I think it was the Kern County Farm Bureau.
Farm Bureau, yeah. So I'm on the committee for. Man, I'm a busy guy.
Well, that's why you're here, and I want to hear how somebody like you mixes it all in, because you're extremely fit, and we can talk about the heyday. Yeah. Or even if it's currently, it might be the heyday, but you can still live a very fit life. And have all the other things. Maybe not all the other things. You can't do it all. But
it's about balance.
It doesn't have to be
purely balance.
All I can do right now is ride. I can't go play that golf tournament. I can't go to my daughter's game. I can't go to my friend's birthday party. No, you have to plan. But that is exactly why you're here. And
do what you want to do.
And I think a lot of people can learn how you can do it.
And it's all about what you want. Like, there's been Saturdays when I'm like, I think I should ride today. And then I look around my garage and I'm like, this is a disaster.
Right.
And then my brother and my buddy Nash are like, rode to my house. Like, come on, let's go. I'm like, I can't go ride right now. My mind is made up that I need to clean this garage up right now. I'm sorry. I want to go ride my bike with you guys for a couple hours. But if I did that, I'd come back and regret that I just didn't take advantage of the opportunity. My kids are doing this or my wife's doing that. Like, I need to do this around the house. So you kind of do what your heart's into at that moment. And there is days when I tell my wife, like, I'm going riding in the morning. I'm going to go into work at 9 instead of going to work at 7:30. And so it happens, right? You just fit it in when you can fit it in balance.
Now, are you a planner? Do you plan way out? Say, okay, if I go to, you're just winging it. You're like, okay, I'm going to go to this party right now, and I'll figure out a workout later. That's how you roll.
The work plans my life, right? The work, the job, the meetings with customers, so I have to fit in what I can. Even with you, we were having trouble coordinating together because I agreed to one time, and then I asked my wife, hey, what's going on Saturday? Oh yeah, my daughter has a mock meet on gymnastics. Okay, I don't want to miss that because I can't get to her practices, and I want this, but I don't want to miss her meet, right? And then we talked about something else, and I had other kid has a soccer game. Like, so I kind of want to be available for them. Priority.
Right. Oh, yes.
Business is number one and family is number one, and they're like tied, right? So if a customer calls, my wife knows, like, hey, Dad's got to go take this call, or my kids know this, right?
Right.
But if I'll skip work to go to do kid stuff.
Yes.
If there isn't like a mandatory emergencies going on, I want to give them that time. I mean, they're going to grow up so fast and they're going to be gone, right? I mean,
yes, they are.
Learning this or getting a handle on this as fast as I can here to understand that.
Yes.
Our time with them is short-lived. And so I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also selfish. I'll admit it. Like, there's days when I'm like, I need to go play golf today, or I need to go clear my head, and I'm going to go with my friends and go do this, or I need to go ride my motorcycle for a few hours this morning. It rained last night.
And you know what? If it's overdone, I think it can be called selfishness, but it keeps guys like us in balance. Yeah. I think we're better people because we go get that in.
Yeah.
Of course, it can be overdone. But if there's balance, back to balance with Move My Mass, but if there's balance, it just makes everything better.
Yeah. And I noticed it too, though, before the fires, the spring, I would take my bike to work, and I would ride, like, staff leave at 4:30. Like, okay, that's the signal. I can turn off a little bit, and I'd get my bike and I'd go for a couple hours or an hour ride. It was awesome. I felt more balanced. Right?
I remember seeing those posts because I'm like, oh, he's on his bike. It made me feel, I'm like, I got to go get something in because maybe I hadn't worked out that day yet.
Yeah, I rode a lot. And then the fires came, and then the heat came, and I was like, we did our family trips, and stuff, and then it just got back to, I don't know, I didn't want to go outside and ride.
Well, it knocks the motivation down. Yeah, I've spent my fair share of time on the spin bike lately and treadmills, and that was getting kind of old.
Yeah.
So any events coming up?
Well, The Big Bear thing happens in the middle of the summer, usually like June or August. They had to move it around a little bit because of COVID, which they actually had it, which was fantastic because at first they talked about they weren't going to do it. And then there's a dual sport ride that I talked about. It's a Vegas to Reno. I'm sorry, not Vegas. Barstow to Vegas. Barstow to Vegas is like another like long day in the motorcycle. Bicycle wise, no real bicycle events. Unfortunately, the Legends event, Mammoth, has decided to not host that downhill Kamikaze thing anymore, which is probably for the best, right? I probably shouldn't be doing that 60 mile an hour, down the hill in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Against all the other top old pros. But we'll do. Ironically, at dinner last night, I told him I went to Action Sports and I saw the new road bikes, and my bike's like 5 years old. And I was kind of thinking, well, maybe for Christmas, Dad needs a new bike.
Right.
So, and maybe that, and people use that to initiate something, right? All the time. Like, hey, I got a new bike. I'm going to ride it more. Hey, I got new golf clubs.
I'm going to go golf more. Yeah.
Hey, I got, like, you kind of trigger yourself. And, if we're lucky enough to be able to afford that and reward ourselves for the hard work we've done. And I'm a firm believer in like finding a way to reward yourself for the things that you've accomplished or you want to accomplish or that you've done. Like, it kind of keeps you motivated.
For me, it's the event. That's well, trust me, as you know, if you're a cyclist or if you're into sports, you always award yourself with the toys. But yeah, the event itself is always my...
Yeah, and I agree with that too.
It's like I have to have that event out there. If I'm going to kick the intensity up to another level, there better be an event. Like, where's my cookie?
Keysville Classic is going to come up in March. That's a mountain bike race. So I used to race that back when I was a pro. I talked about it last year, and it fell on my daughter's birthday, so it gave me a reason to not have to work too hard and actually do it. So I found an excuse, right? Finding a recurring thing here. I needed to get rid of those things. But Keysville Classic, Ryan Abler in town is doing a really good job of bringing that back. It's impressive. Sam Ames is a mutual friend of ours. He used to run it, and he did an amazing job. But I think that's a cool thing that Bakersfield can have, or it's a Bakersfield event in Keysville. Really, it's pretty much all.
It's a great course,
and it's a fantastic cross country. They have uphills, downhills, and probably an enduro. And I don't think I need to race the enduro or the downhill, but I think to go do a cross country would be fun, kind of like the old days. Because we used to, on the same bike, we used to race uphill, race the downhill, and race the cross country. And that was like, hey, you won the stage race, you run the event,
right?
Winning or doing well,
right.
Unfortunately, Tinker War has always beat us in the cross country and the uphill, so we didn't stand a chance, in the overall. But,
I have watched that. I've watched that downhill, and it's just absolutely crazy. It's nuts.
There's a little rock garden in there they call the Snake Pit.
Yeah, and I stand there and these poor guys, sometimes they go head over. Yeah, and it's ugly. I am a horrible mountain biker.
Okay.
Yes, I have, but I am not good on the mountain bike.
And I can help you with that. That's easy, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's my wheelhouse.
Yeah. I've gotten my injuries, and it's all about just not being on the bike. Not fitness, but I have horrible bike handling skills.
Okay.
And I guarantee you I have friends watching this right now. They're going to be like, yes, he does. I've seen him go over the handlebars numerous times. But it's fun.
Some of that stuff's teachable. You can get it.
Totally. And I know it is.
Not all of it. There's certain things that you're just like, how did you even do that? I don't even know how you do that. But
it's just about, I'm a roadie.
Yep.
I ride my gravel bike most of the time now because I want to be out of traffic. I like to ride straight.
I think I almost ran you over one time out in the orchards, to be honest with you. I was out coming from one farmer to the next, and you rode up, and I looked at you like, I think I know him. And you we kind of crossed paths out in the middle of nowhere.
It had to be me. Yeah, how many guys out here are riding out there?
Small world. I was like, I just remembered that. That was a long time ago. I was like, who the heck is out here right now on this cross bike? That's crazy.
Yeah, probably me. Yeah. Probably me. But speaking of cooking and catering, how do you approach nutrition?
Oh man, I like to eat. I like food.
Right.
I'm picky about my food though. I don't eat a lot of junk.
Yeah.
As far as like overeating junk.
Yeah.
But I eat cheese. I mean, I love freshly grated cheese. Oh man, I'll eat. My wife has to run me out of the kitchen when I'll eat the whole dang thing. I don't drink a lot of milk anymore. I don't know what just changed about that. All of a sudden, just one day, you just don't drink any milk. But as a kid, I drank a lot of milk. I like desserts. I don't overindulge in desserts, but I'll have a scoop of ice cream here and there, or candy. The Halloween candy is horrible.
Is it a big planning thing for you? Do you really think out your meals, or
no,
it's just about balance?
Like, what are we having for dinner?
Right.
I get the same thing at a lot of the restaurants or places I go. I'm very regular in that. Like, I go to Victor's, I order pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a lot of sour creams. I don't overindulge in things.
Right.
I'm not super anal about how many calories, or I don't eat breakfast very often.
Were you ever? Oh, really? You skip breakfast most days?
Breakfast is just a big cup of coffee. Go to the office, and then lunch. Lunch is very important for me. It's usually a later lunch, so almost like I'm accidentally like fasting, right? So I just don't eat much in the mornings. I eat 12 to 2:30 lunch. If I'm lucky, if it's 12, more like 1 to 2:30, and then I'm home at 7 for dinner. And sometimes I'm not as hungry because I ate a late lunch, and then, I get a good sized, medium sized dinner, and then I kind of relax and then go to bed. I'm a night owl, so I'm up usually till like 11.
Oh, okay.
Almost 12. I don't know, 70% of the time. And I find that's my time to like decompress. Kids are asleep, wife's asleep usually. I could watch some UFC fighting, or watch some Red Bull channel, or watch the news, or whatever's going on at the time, and kind of just unwind and decompress.
So not eating breakfast, is that because like your stomach's not ready for it, or is it just a nutritional choice? Like, you know what, it's not a fasting thing.
No, it's not even a purposely thing. It's just
not a breakfast person.
If my wife made breakfast, I typically would eat it. But if there was donuts there, I'd grab a donut and leave the house with the donut too, or muffins. I don't know. I just don't make time for it.
Right.
Honestly, it's like once I shower, I usually go downstairs, make the coffee, go back up, take the shower. I go downstairs, pour the cup, and I just want to live. I want to get the heck out of the house. Right?
Okay.
Once I'm clean and dressed, I'm out. I want to get out of there as fast as possible.
Okay.
So I don't get sidetracked, I guess is why. I don't know. I don't really know the exact reason, but my day has started. If I'm in my jeans and I'm out, I get out of the house. So.
You're gone.
Yeah.
See, I'm the type, I can sit up. My eyes open when I wake up. I can sit up. If somebody put a plate of food in front of me, it's going down.
I don't know why that is. Even when I raced, my dad would always force me to eat. Like I remember, like at 17, and he would take me up to we'd go to Big Bear and race, or even before then, I couldn't even. Before I could even drive, I remember him taking me up there, and he always would force me to eat. I just was nervous in the mornings or whatever. I stuffed down a banana or something.
You ever have
been a big thing for me.
Ever had a bad nutrition story during a race or an event where you're like, oh, I ate the wrong thing. This is not going well?
Well, luckily I was young when I raced. So, nutrition it's definitely important, right? It's a part of the toolbox.
Yes.
It's a part of it. But at 22, you could just eat Snickers and probably do close to the same performance.
The body is a lot more forgiving.
A calorie is a calorie.
Right.
It's the minerals. My biggest problem now when I'm, and I don't think it's just about not having as much fitness as I used to have, but I never cramped before. I always used to remember people coming in and talking to us at Action Sports and carrying, like, yeah, I'm cramping. I'm like, that's your problem. Like, I never got a cramp. Well, then only on days when I got super dehydrated, that at night I might cramp, right? Never on a bike ride.
Yeah.
But now, as an adult, if I go and do long days, I can catch myself cramping. My calves will cramp, or I've even had such a bad cramp in my my thigh area that I fell. I had to crash my bicycle. I literally just threw myself to the ground to get my foot off the pedal
because you just couldn't get out.
I couldn't, and a car had to stop. I was laying on the asphalt, stuck with a cramping leg, and a guy had to stop and pull my foot off the. And that was never before. I think it's just not just fitness. I think that's part of it, but I think it's probably nutrition and electrolytes and all that stuff.
Yeah, when things go wrong like that, it's usually a nutritional thing.
So, as a kid, I didn't take nutrition that seriously. As an adult, I don't take it super serious. I just watch what I eat as far as, like, I'm not going to eat this whole cake. I'll have a little slice, or I'm going to have, I'll try to eat the chicken and the rice instead of the heavy, fettuccine Alfredo, right? I'm conscious about it, but I'm luckily genetically I'm pretty blessed in that respect. Of my weight doesn't fluctuate no matter what I eat.
Yeah.
Some people, you drive by a Taco Bell, you gain some weight, right?
Right. And I'm lucky. Right? I'm lucky. The older I get, the less I even want those kinds of foods.
Yeah. We don't. So it's funny you say that, because I remember a vivid conversation I had with some of my teammates who were older than me back in the Volvo Cannondale days, and I ate Taco Bell. I didn't eat it all the time, but I was like, oh, Taco Bell burrito would be so good right now. They looked at me like I was crazy. Like, why would you even eat that? I'm like, I don't know. It was 11 o'clock at night. What else?
It's freaking good. Right? That's why.
and now my kids don't eat McDonald's. My kids, they never have fast food ever. Like they went to one of my daughters had a sleepover, and I said, how was your night? First time sleepover. She's like, we had McDonald's for breakfast. I'm like, oh yeah. She was like, it was horrible. Like all the other kids were like, it was the best thing in the world.
What a blessing for them.
Yeah, I mean,
to naturally be, or it's not natural. It's because
we just never did it.
Yeah,
right? We just never did it. So,
but that's great.
My wife cooks well. She makes sure they have a good meal. She's really good about giving them breakfast or giving them fruit. And we waste so much damn fruit in my house. It kind of makes me frustrated because these kids don't eat as much of the fruit as we cut up for them or whatever. But my wife does all that, and she does a good job giving them good nutrition and not bringing home McDonald's for their dinners, right? I mean, she goes the extra mile to give them something decent.
Yes.
So we're lucky in that respect.
That is. And it's planning. I mean, obviously it's a choice for her to raise the kids like that, which is, they're extremely lucky to have that.
We had Taco Bell as a family one night because we went to a party. And this was just recently, and we went to a party, and they said they had dinner, and it was just not really dinner, right? It was like maybe a light appetizer, and it was like 11, and I had a couple beers. I'm like, I need some food. I haven't had anything to eat since 12 o'clock.
Right.
So I'm going to Taco Bell. I'm going to do it. Right? I can't believe it. She's like, okay, I'll text you what I want. And I brought home, I spent $25 at Taco Bell, and our kids ate like a bean burrito, and they were like, ugh. They did not like it. And me and my wife, I have to say, we ate it. We loved it.
Right.
But
yeah,
I can't imagine I'll be going back for a while, as good as it tasted for that minute. But
yeah, our thing is the In-N-Out trips.
In-N-Out.
You know, going to LA or back, got to hit In-N-Out for us.
And see, that's the problem with traveling as a businessman, and you're traveling. Like, there isn't a lot of great options.
There aren't.
On the road, and you're like, okay, I've got an hour to the next meeting, and I'm 45 minutes away. What's my option? I've got to get some food.
Right.
So In-N-Out's probably your healthier choice, to be honest with you. As crazy as that sounds, it probably is. You're getting your protein. If you cut off if you take away one of you get two patties instead of one. I mean, you've got to balance your carb and protein numbers.
Keep the fries away, and you're good.
Yeah, no fries and no shake. And, if you had a tea,
it's not horrible.
So it's not the worst thing that you can do for your body.
It's about finding it's instead of the days of where I would just freak out if I had to on my long training days, and just, okay, wait a minute, I got myself in a jam here and I got to go eat something bad. I guess you never really have to, but sometimes you're just starving and you don't have time, and you're like, I'm going to go eat this bad thing.
A calorie is a calorie, though. People don't know, like, a calorie is a calorie.
And now I don't freak about it anymore.
Nutrients too. So
yeah.
I'm probably going to get. It probably sounds funny. It's like professional athlete. It is what it is. Like, you don't always get the best choice of having the fresh chicken and the organic this and this veggies. Like, it's not always available.
Right.
And so you kind of deal with what you have. There's a lot of other liquid or other supplements out there. There's a thing called Spiz. I'll use Spiz to balance out my nutrition if I need to, or I put Spiz in my coffee.
Okay.
If you believe that.
I've never done that.
Put a half a cup. I take the chocolate and I take the vanilla.
Okay.
And I mix them together.
Right.
Which gives me double the servings. And because the chocolate's too strong anyway. So I do that. And then I take a scoop and a half, which is about half of the normal, and I put that in my coffee every morning. So I am actually getting some nutrition in my coffee, right?
All right. So you are having breakfast on the way out.
So secret there, right?
Right.
And I started doing that for the chocolate side of things, because I used to put chocolate syrup in my coffee. I loved having chocolate in my coffee. And so I was like, well, how can I do this better? So just thinking of better ways to just enjoy your day and still get something beneficial, right?
Right. So if you were to plan your perfect week, balance with work and working out, what would it look like? What's your perfect week? Dream week.
I would just say, could I have a week of no work? That would be like the dream. And then I can fill in the gaps everywhere else.
Right.
And I love my job, so I'm kind of making a joke. But, as a business owner, as the sole owner of it, and with some staff, I don't get to turn off, right? So, I kind of, we have this puppy. I'll use the example. Like, I've been taking the puppy out to to go to the bathroom at 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, whatever. Well, that's the worst thing in the world for me, to get up at 1 in the morning after I've had 2.5 hours of sleep or whatever. Is then now your mind is up.
Yeah.
So I'm up, took the dog outside. I woke up a little bit. I go get back in bed. It takes me an hour to fall back asleep because now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what's going to happen at 7? What do I need to do? Who's going to call me tomorrow? What do I need to do? What did I forget to do yesterday? And it just eats me alive.
Yeah.
So if I could if I was an employee for a minute, that'd be cool. I could turn off and not have the responsibility of knowing, if you don't do something, something's going to happen or whatever. So that'd be a perfect week in a nutshell, to have a week to turn off completely.
Yeah.
We don't get to do that. We don't enjoy that privilege.
Right.
So it would be to find some more balance. Would be like, can I get that morning ride in? Can I get that lunchtime ride in? If I could have a shower at the office, that'd be cool, right? Get your lunchtime ride in, shower, and finish up the rest of your day.
Yeah, the baby wipe bath gets real quick.
Yeah.
It works occasionally, but to do it consistently, it's like, oh, that's not too fun.
Yeah, no, I like showering after work.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I like cleaning back up and refreshing. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I probably should. I've put so much energy in the last few years of this into the business. Other things have slipped away a little bit, and that this is good to have this conversation, right? Everything happens for a reason, so it's going to make me want to kind of figure out ways to fill it back in a little more. My brother's always teasing me about him riding more than I am, and it's time that I start getting out there a little bit.
And the key I would hope for everybody is not to cram more in; it's to balance it. There's sometimes I totally judge it wrong. I'm like, okay, I don't have to have that call. I can reschedule that. I have to have the call, but I can reschedule it. I can move it to another time so I can get my ride in. I'm just a better person if I've gotten my workout in.
I agree.
And I do. I swing back and forth. I swing to where I'm paying attention to nothing but work, to where I'm paying too much attention to working out, even though I'm doing this podcast and I'm doing Move My Mass, but all of this is helping me focus on it.
No, it's a great point. And it's something that, it's all about perspective and learning, right? So every day you're growing, whether you mean to or not, or whether you want to or not. Every day is a growth day. If that's the kind of person you are, like there's always something happening that you can learn from or grow from. And so I think I'm just in this phase right now where it's like it's required a lot of my resources, and then and they'll probably swing back, and it's just we get busier times of the year too, right? So this is renewal season for us, and then summertime it's less busy, right? We're just reporting some claims and things like that.
Yeah,
but
and for me, finding the balance. I'm a better
person if I ride more. There's no doubt.
No
doubt. Like I'm not one to choke somebody or right.
Right. And it's just. I always find time for the work. I always find for my workouts and family. I always find those. But it's the other thing. Sometimes saying no to friends or which I have gotten a lot better at.
That's good.
But then, your day can fill up real fast.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to become a better planner. I'm not the best planner. I wing it like you do. I'm like, okay, which I used to hate.
Yeah.
When we had our business, I worked out every single day at lunch. That's when I worked out. Unless I was doing 2 days, then I did a early morning and then I did a lunch. But I always worked out lunch. And my vendors knew not to even call me he's not going to go to lunch. People want to sell me boxes or bags or whatever. He doesn't go to lunch. He works out at lunch. But then I was isolated.
So what did you do for food then?
I usually had one of the guys in the office when they went to lunch bring me something back, or that was most of the time.
Right.
I lived off the taco trucks. Not gonna lie.
So it's almost like counterintuitive.
They were right.
Counter, right?
But I didn't. You go have 3 chicken tacos. Yeah. They're not horrible. They got chicken, salsa. I'm not loading them up with guacamole and sour cream. Is it the best thing? Of course it's not. But I am not a meal planner or a meal prepper. I've tried that, and I throw so much food away.
I barely even eat leftovers as it is, man. My wife teases me. I can't stand it. I don't know.
Right.
I want fresh, hot food, ready to go. I want something. I don't want the same thing I had the night before. I like some variety. Surprise me. She's always asking, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, just surprise me. That's your job. You just show me what we're having.
You don't care, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't. Yeah.
It's not always the best. I'm like, oh, stew, but hey,
yeah, there's no complaints.
Surprise me. Like there's been no surprises today. Else part of my life, like surprising me was for dinner. I don't care.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that was always, and I used to sit down and eat those tacos. And I'm like, John, if you could just get this part figured out, you'd be even in better shape.
Right.
But it was that was the easy thing. You can't make, like, that's the thing. You can't make everything, because the workout just crushed me. Those were crazy intense workouts. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go do something real easy. 3 chicken tacos, please. And wolf them down as I'm sitting on my desk, sweating it out, and get back to work. But that's, as we sat here and had a great discussion about trying to find balance and talking about some of the old intense days and finding balance now, I think it was a great discussion.
Yeah, no, it was great to talk about it. It's fun to actually hear it out loud sometimes when you're thinking about what goes on in your head day to day. And it's fun to share the old times of mountain biking heyday. It's definitely different now. There's some amazing American cyclists. Downhill's changed the technology and the bikes, and I was lucky to participate in it in that time of the bikes evolving so rapidly. Equipment played a big factor in how good you did, if you had the good brakes or the good tires that didn't flat or the good wheels that didn't break. So nowadays it's kind of, I think a lot of the equipment's a little more uniform. Fitness played a role, but technique and equipment played a much bigger role in my mind.
Yeah.
You had to be strong and sprint, and everybody could kind of do that. But if you had the good brakes and the good tires and the good bike, you could make up some good time on each other.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so nice to hear full circle and how, look, you can start a business, have a family, have a puppy that wants to go, and still be, you just have to wing it. And, you don't have to do the 2.5 hour workouts every single day at the same time, planned out by a coach to be in shape. You're obviously extremely fit, and you're just doing it a different way now.
Well, we talked about man strength plays a role in it over time, right?
It does.
I think all the years piled up kind of stay in reserve for you. And so, it is, I've noticed my brother's tease me. He's like, I could go out after a couple of weeks, and he's like, dude, you haven't been riding. And all of a sudden you're doing pretty good, hanging out. So yeah. I rode for like 3 weeks before we went to Mammoth. Tahoe, and rode the Lake Loop. And I wasn't, as fresh as them at the end, but we did it. We had fastest time we've ever done it, under 4 hours.
Yeah.
Around the lake, crushed it. So I just
stays
gotta
with
have a little time to get back up to full strength or full
muscle memory is real. It is very real.
Man strength and muscle memory are legit.
Yeah, I'm the same way. The only thing that works for me is swimming. I can stay out of the pool for months, get back in, and of course I'm hurting and struggling, but I'm a lot closer to my normal swimming versus if I stay off the bike for a long time, I get back on, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, running, especially running's like the last. I'm still so bad on that. It's way out of whack. But I'm also not killing myself mentally because I'm not, John, it's okay. It'll come.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy like you did before. It's okay. Take your time. It'll come. So I'm enjoying it.
The thing about the bike too that you forget when you're off the bike for a long period of time before you get back, you start riding a couple of days. Like, it's not just the legs and the fitness. As you get older, like you're being hunched over and the pressure on your arms and your neck, holding your neck up for 2 hours, like all that stuff, you forget how much that is a part of training too. Like even sitting on the seat for 2 hours, like over time, if you're fit and you're riding all the time, none of that stuff comes into play. You're just like, I'm just less fit than I was last week. I went my hill climb and it took me 30 seconds longer. Well, if you're off the bike for long periods of time, your neck is sore, your arms are sore, your butt's sore. Like everything's different. You got to get that stuff back retrained as to being fit, not just your legs and your lungs.
I know.
So
and we do laugh. We go on group rides, and I haven't been on the bike for a while. We're an hour and a half in, and they see me standing up.
Oh yeah, dude,
I'm not standing up because my muscles are sore. Yeah. My butt is sore. It's not.
You're tired of having your neck bent over.
It doesn't have the saddle time in it at the moment. Yeah. And everybody laughs. But hey, I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, I hope I answered your questions. I think that it's cool that you're doing something like this. It's cool to talk about it. It's cool to learn more about other people. right? In our industry of agriculture, or in Kern County in cycling and in fitness. I mean, there's a lot of awesome runners. Kern County has some amazing athletes that we've produced. I mean, from football to
crazy good, crazy good.
It's such a small community and have some serious studs come out of it, male and female, right? I mean, and we've had great gymnasts. We've had triathletes. We've had cyclists race across America. It's been cool.
But yeah, it's super easy to get online or social media and find that crazy intense fit guy to follow and say, I'm going to follow that guy for inspiration, or woman, which is fine, and I follow plenty of them because it is inspiring. But you know what I want to provide, and talking to people like you, is you don't have to go crazy. It's you can do, because what the people with that 4%, 8% body fat, they are sacrificing a lot to get there, and more power to them. And that's incredible, because that's a feat to get to that kind of fitness. I just want to be that one in balance. And talking to guests like you, that I can see living that balance. It's what it's all about. And that's what I'm hoping to provide, and I know you certainly provided that today. You are living one crazy busy life, and still looking damn good.
Yeah, thank you, man. So it's about maintenance, right? So there is those athletes that crush it for a few years, or some pro football players or pro baseball players, and then you look at them after the retirement, they're like, whoa, that guy has not done anything since he retired, right? And so I'm a retired professional athlete, but I still try to maintain some sort of likeliness, or similarity to what that professional athlete was at 22, 25. And it's not a similar amount of workload anymore. Unfortunately, I don't get to go climb Breckenridge, every Saturday and do 4 hours on the bike, and because sometimes I'd rather go 4 hours on the golf course, or sometimes I'd rather sit around and do nothing for 4 hours on a Saturday. I don't get to do that Monday through Friday. So there's days when I'm chilling by the pool in the summer, right? And not doing it. But you have to maintain some sort of maintenance. And maintenance is kind of the word. I'm doing maintenance rides. I'm maintaining my body, my physique through maintenance rides, or maintenance rowing, or maintenance, I don't jog anymore, but I go for walks around the block with my dogs and stuff.
But what you call maintenance,
balanced in maintenance.
What you call balance and maintenance, a lot of other people would call getting in shape.
It could be,
and hard work, and which is good, but it just shows that it doesn't matter what level of fitness you're at, you can fit the balance in. Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing your stories and coming on, and it was a good time.
Yeah, that was awesome. My first podcast, so hopefully it comes across good.
Mine too.
I don't know what the voice is like on the other end out there, but hopefully we've inspired someone to pick up the bike, or go for a run, or to do something that you used to do, or something you used to love, and go out and do it again, and try to rekindle that feeling you had with your fitness, or start fresh, start something new,
right?
Whether it's a weight loss routine, or I don't know, just don't bounce around, I'm going to cut weight or lose weight and then 2 weeks later you're worn out, right? Just try to maintain something, and you'll see results.
Great advice.
You'll see results over time. It's not something, think of it as a marathon, not a sprint, right? You can't just go, I'm going to go lose 10 pounds over the week, and then if you don't see any results, you're pissed off, right? You got to give it a little time, and your fitness takes time to build back up, whatever. It all takes time.
Yes, right? It does. Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. Move my mass. I'm going to start doing it more.
All right.